Looking for a PvP guide for a survival hunter in the War Within Season 1? Look no further, this is the video for you. We will be going over the macros, talents, basic rotation, gems, enchants, all the above. We'll try to hit every point to give you the most optimal build to succeed in PvP. So enough of that, let's get right into it. Alrighty, I'm not going to hit every single talent. I'm just going to go over important ones and ones I want to talk about. Give you the best idea on how to build your talent tree for Survival Hunter in Season 1 of the War Within. This is a new talent, obviously, Kodo Tranquilizer. Tranquilizing shot removes up to 1 additional magic effect from up to 2 nearby targets. This is a major W. I feel like you can purge, alter, and bop a lot more than previous hunter train shots. So this is definitely, you want that. We're going to come over here, take Specialized Arsenal. Wildfire Bomb deals 10% increased damage. We want Explosive Shot. And then we want that Black Rock Munition. So Explosive Shot deals increased 8% more damage. You want Sack, so you can sack your teammate if they're being targeted, or yourself or your healer, so they can't be crit for 12 seconds. So remember, 10% of that damage goes to your pet, so make sure you're healing your pet if you're sacking whoever is being targeted. We're gonna come over and take Binding Shackles. Every time we binding shot someone, knock someone back with high explosive trap, scatter them or stun them with Intimidation, they will deal 10% less damage for 8 seconds. Since we can grab all this and do all 4 of those things, Binding Shot, Scatter Shot, Intim, and Explosive Trap, this is a very, very good talent. Keen Eyesight, 4% crit strike chance increased. And then you want Tar-Coated Binding. Binding Shot stun duration increased by 1 second. You want Improved Traps, so it takes 5 seconds off all your traps. You want Unnatural Causes. Your damage over time effects deal 10% increased damage. This effect is increased by 50% on targets below 20% health. Alrighty, and then lastly, we're going to talk about for the Hunter Tree, Emergency Salve. This is a very niche talent. So you can take away Concussive Shot to grab it. You can take away Improved Traps to grab it. You can take away Tar-Coated Binding Shot to grab it. So you want to run this against Ferals because their Mortal Wound is a disease effect. So you can Feign Death or Turtle that off. And then also against DK's, Frost, and Unholy to take off their fevers, their Frost fevers and Unholy diseases, and then for Assassin rogues as well, and then maybe even all rogues in general, because they do coat all their weapons in poisons, and that is where their Mortal Wounds comes in. So I would say against all rogues you can run Emergency Salve, and I told you which talents you can remove them for. So enough of that, let's go over to the survival tree. Go over here and grab Mongoose Bite. So it replaces Raptor Strike, and you also get Mongoose Fury, increases the damage of Mongoose Bite by 15% for 14 seconds, stacking up 5 times. So that's 75% increased damage if you have 5 stacks. Then we're gonna come over here and talk about Sweeping Spear, Raptor Strike, Mongoose Bite, and Butchery damage increased by 10%. That is for Mongoose Bite. We want Coordinated Assault. That's your main burst window. And then you want to come over and take a Symbiotic Adrenaline. The cooldown of Coordinated Assault is reduced by 60 seconds, and Coordinated Assault now grants 3 stacks of tip of the spear. And then right here you want Spearhead. You give the signal and your pet charges into your target, bleeding them for 286,000 damage over 10 seconds, and increasing your chance to critically strike your target by 30% for 10 seconds. So you got the 1 minute cooldown for Spearhead, you have Coordinated Assault, and Aspect of the Eagle. All these line up to do massive damage and have those 1 minute goes. Now that we've gone over the survival talents, we're going to go straight over to Sentinel. This is going to be the main one you're going to be running for PvP. Pack Leader isn't good. It just hopefully gets some buffs soon, but it's just not as good as Sentinel is for PvP. For Sentinel, it's a passive. Your attacks have a chance to apply Sentinel on your target, stacking up 10 times. While Sentinel stacks are higher than 3, applying Sentinel has a chance to trigger an implosion, causing a stack to be consumed on the target, dealing 68k arcane damage. So each time Sentinel deals damage, just don't look back. You gain an Absorb Shield equal to 1% of your maximum health up to 10%. You have extrapolated shots. When you apply Sentinel to a target and not affected by Sentinel, you apply 1 additional stack. Then you want to come over and grab Sentinel Precision, Raptor Strike, Mongoose Bite, and Wildfire Bomb deal 10% increased damage. Then you have Release and Reload. Apply Sentinel on the target, and you have 15% chance to apply a second stack. And then this is a choice node. You have Sideline or Catch Out. We'll take Catch Out. When your target affected by Sentinel deals damage to you, they are rooted for 3 seconds. This can only occur every 1 minute, so that is the one you want to go with. Invigorating Pulse. Each time Sentinel deals damage to an enemy, it has a chance of 15% chance to generate 5 focus. Chances decrease when each additional Sentinel currently imploding applied to other enemies. Then we want, so here's another choice node. You have Sentinel Watch. So whenever Sentinel deals damage, the cooldown of coordinated assault was reduced by 1 second up to 15 seconds. But since it's already on a minute cooldown, we want Eyes Closed for 8 seconds after activating coordinated assault. All abilities are guaranteed to apply Sentinel, so apply this. Symphonic Arsenal, we don't really care about this. This is multi-shot, more of a AoE thing that's more for PvE and mythics. We're not going to talk about that. Overwatch, this is your last talent to choose from. So you want Overwatch. All Sentinel debuffs implode when a target affected by more than 3 stacks of your Sentinel falls below 20% health. And then you have your final node is Lunar Storm. Every 15 seconds, your next Wildfire Bomb summons a Celestial Owl that conjures a 10-yard radius Lunar Storm at the target's location for 8 seconds. A random enemy affected by Sentinel within your Lunar Storm gets struck by 65k arcane damage. Every 0.4 seconds, any target struck by this effect takes 10% increased damage from you and your pet. So Sentinel is definitely the hero talents you want to run for PvP for Survival Hunter. Hands down, it's just much better than Pack Leader. So this is going to do it for the talents. Let's go over to the PvP talents now. Obviously, every Hunter spec, Survival Tactics, Feign Death reduces damage taken by 90% for 3 seconds. This is a must run for every Hunter spec and for Survival. Sticky Tar Bomb. You throw a Sticky Tar Bomb that coats your target weapons with tar, disarming them for 4 seconds. So this is something you want to run against a melee cleave, or even if there's just one melee. This is really good to run to have a disarm. Then you have Diamond Ice. So victims of Freezing Trap can no longer be damaged or healed. Freezing Trap is now undispellable, but has a 5-second duration instead of 6. Another talent you can run is Chimeral Sting. So you can focus Chimeral Sting the healer, and they might not see it coming, and they'll get silenced by Spider Venom. That's a really good one. It also slows them and reduces movement speed, and it does 20% reduced damage and healing. So you can also Chimeral Sting DPS. It's up to you. And then Mending Bandage. This is probably really good to run with Emergency Salve. So if you're playing against ferals and stuff like that, diseases, anything like bleeds and poisons, ferals, sub-rogues, assassin rogues, stuff like that. Mending Bandaging, so instantly clears all bleeds, poisons, and diseases from the target and heals you for 18% damage over 6 seconds. You only really care about that insta clearing bleeds and stuff, so this is probably a really good combo to run against Feral. Emergency Salve and Mend Bandaging. But I think these will be the talents you'll be running mostly. So yeah, that's going to do it for all the talents together. Now let's move on to the set bonus. Alrighty, now let's talk about the set bonus. So you're going to run the head, shoulders, hands, and legs for your set bonus. This is because your chest gives you more crit and haste is more important for Survival Hunter than crit is. Crit is the last thing you want to worry about. We'll talk about later on. Because your legs give you more haste, less crit. Your chest would give you more crit, less haste. So for your set bonus, you have for 2 set, Wildfire Bomb damage increased by 5%. This is reduced to 2.5% in PvP. For 4 set, Mongoose Bite deals 10% increased damage to targets affected by a Wildfire Bomb. This is reduced to 5%, so not a crazy set bonus for Survival Hunter like at all. It's just increased damage. It's, I mean, which is always a good thing, but it's 2.5% and 5%. So it's not too crazy. Now we're going to talk about stat priority for Survival Hunter. So agility is your #1 stat, obviously. Then we got around 20% verse, 20 to 25% verse in that area. Shoot for that area. Then you want haste, mastery, then crit. Crit is the last thing you want to worry about as a Survival Hunter. Right now, my gear is set towards my Marksman Hunter right now. But definitely you want higher haste. It's not going to be a higher percentage than mastery, because mastery is pretty strong for Survival Hunter, because you have mastery, Spirit Bond. You and your pet deal 17% increased damage and take 3% damage. Reduced damage. This bonus is increased by 100% when you're within 25 yards of your pet. So you take reduced damage when you're closer to your pet within 25 yards. So mastery is very important, but you should get to around 18 to 20% haste, I would say, then throw everything into mastery. Crit is the last thing you worry about. Probably the only place you're going to get crit is from your hands, your set bonus hands. That should probably be the only place you're getting crit from. But otherwise, haste is definitely important because it increases your attack speed and focus regeneration. And then burst is also important because it reduces damage taken and increases damage done and healing done. So that's how I would probably do your stats for Survival Hunter in the Season 1 of the War Within. Now let's go over enchants for Survival Hunter. So it's basically the same for every hunter spec, but we're just going to go over it again. So your boots, you want Scout's March for that increased speed. You want, for your braces, you want Chant of Armored Speed for that 1000 speed. For your cloak, you want Chant of Burrowing Rapidity if you want that speed as well. And then for your chest, you can take either Storm Rider's Agility, which increases agility by 520 and speed by 250, or you can take Crystalline Radiance, which increases 745 primary stat, which is agility. I'd probably go with that one. It depends on what you want. I think we might have enough speed with our boots, bracers, and cloaks, so I'd probably go with Crystalline Radiance. And then for your legs, you want Stormbound Armor kits, which applies 930 agility, and additionally the item gains 895 stamina. And then for your rings, you can either do Radiant Haste or Cursed Mastery. Whichever stat you need to increase more is where you can throw these enchants on, but these are the two you want to go between, is Radiant Haste or Cursed Mastery. So Cursed Mastery takes away some crits, but it gives you more mastery. And then Radiant Haste gives you 315 mastery. Then for your weapon enchant, you have two choices. You have Stonebound Artistry, which gives you 3910 mastery for 12 seconds. Or you have Authority of Radiant Power, which gives you smites your target with radiant damage and temporarily increases your primary stat, which is agility, by 2230. So that's probably the one you're going to run. That's the more expensive one too on the auction house. Like I said, make sure you're putting these triple tier 3 enchants on your conquest gear. Do not be wasting it on honor or bloody token gear if you do not have the gold. So that's going to do it for the enchants. Let's move on to the gems. All right, starting off, the Algari gem, your most important gem. You have 3 choices, but the best one for PvP is going to be the Enduring Bloodstone. So it gives you 181 primary stat and 5% damage reduction when affected by crowd control. This is the one you're going to run. You probably want to throw it on one of your rings or your neck, because rings and neck can have 2 slots for your gems. So that's going to do it for your PvP gem. Now let's talk about the other gems you can run for your gear. So you have, for more haste, you have the Versatile Emerald, will get you 147 haste and 49 verse. Or Masterful Emerald will give you 147 haste and 49 mastery. For verse, use Quick Sapphire or Masterful Sapphire. And for mastery, you want to use either Quick Onyx or Versatile Onyx. So you can choose between those 3 gems and figure out which stat you need to increase, and you can go from there. But those are your choices for your mastery, verse, and haste gems. Like I said, crit is the last thing you want to worry about. Let's quickly go over some crafted gear. So this is a crafted gear for my MM, but it's going to be the same for Survival Hunter. You want to craft Focusing Lens on 2 of your jewelry or wherever you want to. To be honest, I have it crafted on a ring and my necklace. So your damaging spells and abilities have a chance to deal 92,000 damage to your target. This magic school is chosen based upon the selection of your Socketed Kalzagar gems. This does not apply to your PvP gems, so this applies to your 2 stat gems with the verse, mastery, and haste. So you need to have one of those gemmed in order for this to proc. Okay, so but that's called Focusing Lens, and those are the 2 craftings you're gonna run. They are pretty solid, and that's what I would go for your crafted gear for now. Alrighty, let's quickly go over macros. They will be in a paste bin that you can go to in the description, but I don't have too many crazy macros. I just have my Focus Scatter, Focus Intimidation, Focus Trank Shot. I have a kill shot that cancels my turtle. It also stops casting, and it does cast Savage Run, which is your Mortal Strike for your pet. I have a Kill Command one that casts Kill Command, Claw, Bite, Smack, and Savage Run. So what most pets use. I have a Focus Party, I have a Party 1 Roar of Sack and a Party 2, and I have a Party 1 Master's Call and a Party 2. This is with the Cunning Pet. So now talking about pets. The pet you're going to run, the main pet you're always going to run, and it's just the best pets to run because it has a Mortal Strike and it's undead and it can't be polymorphed, is going to be the Undead Raptor. This has Savage Rend, which is your Mortal Strike. So it gives mortal wounds, grievous wounds to target, reducing the effectiveness of any healing received for 10 seconds. This is for 50%. So you always want to run this pet even if your teammate has a Mortal Strike, because maybe they can't get uptime, and you want to keep this mortal wounds as much uptime as much as possible. Okay, so Undead Raptor is what you're going to want to do. If you're playing against Ret, You can probably run a rodent in the cunning tree because you always want Master's Call to get out of roots and to get your healers out of roots, because Prez especially is the only healer actually that can get out of root beam. But a rodent is because Wake of Ashes, Ret can stun undead. So if your Raptor's undead, it's going to get stunned. So against Rets, you can just run a rodent that has a Mortal Strike from the Cunning Tree. But otherwise, the undead Raptor is going to be your go-to like 99% of the time for every hunter spec and for survival hunter as well, in my opinion. All right, now let's go over the basic rotation for survival hunter. This is going to be very simple. But let's say we have a focus. We have a focus to healer. Let's mark the target we're going to kill. We're invis. We're going to be invis. We're going to come over here, trap the healer, and then we're going to harpoon here into explosive shot, spearhead, into wildfire bomb for that lunar storm, spam kill command again. Let's stun the healer, back on here, coordinate assault the target, spam mongoose bite for those stacks, spam kill command for the stacks of tipping the spear. Let's use our kill shot proc into another wildfire bomb, kill shot proc again, and then every 15 seconds, remember, wildfire bomb procs lunar storm from Sentinel, and then you keep doing this process over and over again. Don't forget, flanking does a lot of damage, flanking strike, and it also gives you 2 stacks of tipping the spear, which increases your damage by 20% for non-kill command abilities. Your quick shot procs for explosive shot, and make sure you're using mongoose bite, stacking that up, using kill command for generating focus, and for those tipping the spear procs, or excuse me, stacks. Okay, that's basically gonna do it. You can scatter shot the healer, scatter shot the off DPS. Make sure you're kicking the off DPS or who you're killing, or kick the healer if it's possible. You can also have a focus harpoon into a trap on the healer, and make sure you're doing all this as much as possible. Make sure you're disarming the off melee DPS, or the just who's doing a lot of damage, who's bursting. So like if a marksman hunter casts true shot, I would disarm them instantly, see if you can get them to trinket or use something. Most of the time they should sit it. If they trinket it, that's really bad. Then you can just instantly stun them and go to town on them. Make sure you're using your defensives, trying to marksman hunter uses true shot, you disarm them, they trinket it, then I would wall or use feign death. Make sure you're using feign death if you can, to avoid a big burst of damage. Feign death is on a 30-second cooldown, but it's a very important defensive cooldown. If you see like a rogue stun someone and they could step kidney you, you can pre-feign it or pre-wall it. You just got to be pre-ing stuff. That's what like separates good players from bad players, is using defensives. That's a huge thing. If you can predict what they're going to do and you can feign death or wall in a rogue, he's not going to be able to kill you in a bomb, and you won't have to trinket turtle. Okay, he's not going to be able to do a lot of damage into a wall and feign death. And also make sure you're sacking yourself if you're Sun, or sacking your healer, whoever the target is, so they can't be crit. And just utilizing that 1 minute go with coordinated assault and aspect of the eagle, so your mongoose bite has 40-yard range, and you do 20%. You and your pet do 20% increased damage. And don't forget, coordinated assault lunges you forward and it has a 40-yard range. Okay, so that's a big deal. And then make sure you're just using your focus, using trank shots to take off magic effects and enrage effects, so like alter, stuff like that, bop, anything that can be purged. Shroud, even shroud's pretty hard to get, but bop and alter are much easier to get now compared to old trank shot. The new Kodo tranquilizer is very strong in my opinion. So just make sure you're utilizing your kit. As a hunter right now, you have a very strong defensive, and you have a lot of buttons to disrupt the other teams. Just make sure you're utilizing all of your abilities. This was a very basic rotation, and like I said, this is my least played hunter spec, so let me know in the comments if I missed anything. And I appreciate you guys. If you liked the video, hit the like button, comment with any questions or any tips for people that can help in the comments, and subscribe if you enjoyed the content. There's going to be 2 videos up right here. Go check them out. I'd really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.